with an amazing guest, and I know you guys are going to get so much value tonight with Dr. John DeGarmo. Dr. John, where are you from before I even introduce you? Where do you live?
Right now I live in Georgia.
Okay, you live in Georgia. That's close to my hometown. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, but I'm actually living in New Jersey right now. So we're kind of neighbors a little bit. To excellent families, we are here to serve you. I am your servant CEO, Natasha Paris, and I am so happy that you were taking the time tonight to come and just get some wisdom about fostering. And we have an expert tonight, and he is going to share his story with you. So I want you to just get excited. If you know anyone who has ever even thought about fostering or it's in their heart to foster, you might want to just tag them in this video because there's going to be just so much information as we get into this. So I'm going to go ahead and just read off to you guys. I can't read off his whole bio because he has just such a vast bio. I mean, it's a master's in media technology, a master's in educational leadership, and a doctorate. This is phenomenal. A doctorate in educational leadership. All right. Let me go down a little bit. Okay, Dr. DeGarmo is married to this beautiful Dr. Kelly DeGarmo, who hails from Australia. And the two of them have 6 children. I can relate to that, both biological and adopted. Dr. DeGarmo and his wife are also currently fostering parents to 3 siblings, which is phenomenal. I love to hear those type of stories. He also has been a foster parent for dozens of children over a decade now. He has a passion to foster children. He's driven to bring education and insight into general society about all things foster care. All right, so we're going to get right into this. Dr. John, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time and hanging out with us here in Excellent Families tonight. I know you're super busy, but I've been trying to track you down for a few weeks now. We finally got this interview, and I'm so grateful for it. So I just wanted for you to start and just tell us about your excellent family. Just share a little bit about your excellent family.
Well, thank you for asking, and thank you for the opportunity. My family is pretty excellent. They're pretty understanding. They're pretty patient with me. We have, as you noted, we have 3 biological children. We have 3 children we've adopted from foster care. We have several children living with us right now who have been homeless. We have a whole range of God's colors under the rainbow. And in our home, there is no black or white. We're all the same color, just different shades of God's skin in our house. Awesome. So we don't have labels. We don't have labels of adoptive or foster, biological, or homeless. They're all the children. And our ages range right now in the house from 4 to 20 and everything in between. That's it today. Now it could be very different tomorrow, mind you.
Right, that is phenomenal. Can you just tell us a little bit about how did you, and I want you to go deep a little bit because you just told me before we went live that you open book, and so am I. Like, I love sharing my story. And I would just love to hear from you about your story. Like, how did you and your wife come into fostering? How did that happen for you guys?
Well, as you noted, my wife's from Australia. We were living in Australia when we got married, and our first child died of a condition called anencephaly, or some pronounce it anencephaly. It's a condition where the brain or the skull never truly form. Okay. And my wife was in labor for 92 hours. Wow. And she will tell you that we both grieved in 2 different fashions. She grieved in a healthy fashion. I did not. Okay. I was really full of a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness. I turned my back on a lot of things. I held myself on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And I immersed myself into work. I just wanted to escape the grief. It wasn't until years later that we moved back to America, and we had 3 healthy children at that point. And I was working in a very rural and poverty-stricken high school in the Deep South. And I kept noticing the same pattern. A lot of my students at the high school level had issues of behavior, had issues of attendance, and I kept asking myself, why? What is this? What's going on? Mm-hmm. And then I met the birth parents, and I realized, yes, it starts in the home. It starts in the home.
Yes, it does.
I said to my wife, we lost our first child. How can we help other children? And that led to fostering, that led to adoption, that led to the books, the speaking, and since then I've really devoted every aspect of my life to helping children, whether it is in foster care or adoption or child sex trafficking or child welfare related issues, you name it.
That's awesome. There's this interview I watched of you, and I want you to touch a little bit about that, how you talked about that spiritual encounter that you had. That's very powerful. Like, what was that encounter for you?
Well, this is before we were foster parents, and I was asleep, and I woke up screaming, just screaming, and I could not. My wife tells me it took about 5 minutes for her to settle me down, and I couldn't remember what the nightmare was about, but I recalled a sense of just overpowering, and the only thing I could describe it was as evil, as if evil was clutching at me, and I was immersed in a cocoon of evil. And for the next 4 or 5 days, I just felt chills through my entire body. Wow. And I was in a state where I was looking around every single corner. I was just immersed in fear, if you will. And I finally went to my minister and said, listen, I am just really shaking. What's going on? And at that point, I really had not come back to Christ. Again, I had turned my back on a lot of things after the death of my first child. But I was attending church for the sake of my children. Right. And my minister said, God's trying to the devil's trying to drag you back in, and you got to make a decision. What path are you going to go on here? What path are you going to take? So, that was a very life-altering moment for me. And I still, just describing it to you now, just the chills, I can feel the fear that encompassed me. It was all empowering fear.
That is phenomenal. And I heard you share that story. I mean, like, I felt that. You know what I mean? It was just so passionate. You were so passionate about it. So share with me now, how did it change? How did you, from fostering, how did it change from passion to a mission? Because obviously you're on a mission. I mean, it's not like you have, because I know the church that I go to now, there's a lot of foster parents, like a lot. Like, it's beautiful. It's awesome how it is. But how did you transform from the passion of fostering to now it's a mission for you?
Well, it's funny you ask. I never intended on being a foster parent. Okay. It wasn't on my radar. Right. I never intended on being an adoptive parent. I never intended to get my doctorate or write books. It was never on my radar. Right. In fact, if you were to go and dig up some dirt on me, you would see that my career path, history at the time, was something very, very different. So I think at some point I realized, God has led me on this path here to become a foster parent, become an adoptive parent, to get my doctorate, write these books. He's given me all these experiences here, and I realized at some point, there is a mission field out there, and if not me, then who? I think perhaps the death of my first child, and there have been several tragic stories that have happened in our own household from children in foster care. Stories that would just make your blood curl and your eyes water with tears. Wow. And I realized, I can't let that happen. I just can't let that happen. There's too many children out there right now who are suffering, as you and I talk. Right. And somebody has to step up and say, I will care for you.
Wow. How many children have actually passed through you and your wife's home?
Over 50.
Over 50. Did you guys get that?
And we've had as many as 11 at the same time in the house. So our house is like a, everyday circus.
Wow.
7 in diapers at one point. It's just, we go to work to rest, basically. I was in Greece a week and a half ago speaking at an international conference there. Right. And my wife was back home with 8 kids. And, I knew that I had it pretty easy.
Right. That is phenomenal. It's not even a job. It really is a mission. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, I think, like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to be, like, called for this. Would you say that is true? Like, you have to, like, there has to be a special anointing or a special call on your life to do this?
Well, for what I'm doing, I believe so, yes. Okay. Because, again, every single aspect of me, every waking moment is on how can I help these children out there. But I also believe at the same time that not everybody can be a foster parent. It is the hardest thing I've ever done on a number of levels. Wow. But everybody can help a child in foster care in some fashion. I have spent summers in Mexico. I have 3 children going to Honduras this summer to do mission work there. That's great. Those overseas mission trips are wonderful. At the same time, there's a mission field not only across America, but in our own states, in our own cities, and sometimes even in our own neighborhoods.
Wow, wow, wow. So that leads me to the next question. So what are some of the misconceptions? Because you said that everyone can do something. So just tell to us a little bit about the misconceptions about fostering, because I think a lot of people think that they know what it is, but tell us some of the misconceptions of it.
There's three.
Okay.
The kids with bad kids, far from the truth.
Okay.
Far from the truth. The children are victims. They are victims of abuse. They're victims of neglect. They're victims of abandonment. Like the 13-year-old boy who was abandoned by his mother on his birthday on an 8-lane highway, busiest highway in Atlanta, Georgia. Or the 4-year-old boy who came to our house with cigarette burns on the roof of his mouth and his tongue and his genitals by his mommy. You know, I could go on and on and on. Children are victims. They need somebody. They need somebody to say, I will love you. Wow. Second misconception is that foster parents are weird people. Well, you know what? That's kind of true. Because it's not a normal lifestyle. This is not a normal lifestyle. It is not normal bringing children into my home that are strangers to me, who are full of anxieties and full of trauma. And the misconception is the children come to my house and they are already happy, they're saved, they feel great. That's not the truth. The truth is they're scared to death. Scared to death of me. They don't know who I am. They want to go back to their mommy, their daddy, however abusive they may be. That's their norm. So they want to go back to that norm. The third misconception is that foster parents do it for the money. Oh my gosh. All the diapers and the baby wipes and the formula and the bottles and the clothing and the doctor's visits and the sports visits and the visitations to jail to visit their birth parents and on and on and on and on and on. It's coming out of my own pocket. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. I don't know if there's a foster parent in it for the money, then they are scraping by day to day, because the government does help with the daily per diem, but most wonderful foster parents across the country realize, you know what, this is from my heart, and I'm helping these children, and I'm going to make these children feel as comfortable and as normal as I can. That means I'm going to give all that I have to these kids.
That's phenomenal. Yes, I have heard that as well. I'm not even going to lie. I have heard that. I've heard.
Yeah, I hear it all the time. And you know what? Come check out my wall and see how full it is right now. Gosh. You know how much milk I go through every single day? You know, when you have 11 kids in the house, the laundry does not stop. The dishwasher 5 times a day, you know.
I mean, I have 6, so I know. So I can't even imagine what 11's like. So God bless you. So tell us a little bit about some success stories. I would love to hear some of the children that went through your house, and you know, how are they doing now? And do you keep up with some of them?
Well, it's another excellent question. I keep up with them as many as possible. I would keep up with them all if I could, but here's the reality. For many of the birth parents and the biological family members, I am, as a foster parent, am considered the bad guy. And I'm okay with that. See, I represent a part of their life that they may not want to remember, acknowledge, recognize. I represent a part of their life where they made bad choices. And they don't want to recognize those choices. So many of these birth parents, when the children go back into their home, they shut off all contact with my wife and I because, again, we represent a part of their life that they don't want to remember. But there are some children that we do keep in touch with. And you asked for a success story. First one comes to my mind, 17-year-old girl. When she came to us, she was 17. Her family was killed in Romania when she was 9. 3 families in 3 separate states over the course of 9 years, adopted her and then abused her sexually, physically, emotionally, and all 3 abandoned her. All 3 gave her back. And when she came to our house at age 17 years of age, she wanted nothing to do with what my wife and I was giving children, and that was unconditional love. She wanted nothing to do with family, because those 2 things to her meant rape, abuse, abandonment. So when we were adopting our first child, we tried to adopt her. That adoption process was sabotaged due to her emotional needs at the time. And it went really south for quite a while. But I'm happy to say, I'm proud to say that she's now 26 years of age. She is a caseworker for child welfare. She has a baby. She is a fantastic mother. Despite all the obstacles she went through. She's one of the 2% that graduated from college with a degree. And we stay in contact with her all the time. She's part of our family. And I love her like she's my daughter.
Wow. That is awesome, because you do hear the kids getting bounced from house to house to house, and
Yes.
just can't really find a stable place. So tell me, this question I've been really excited to get an answer from you. So when do you come from fostering to actually adopting? When do you decide, okay, I fostered this child long enough, now I want to make this child my kid, my child? When do you decide that? At what point?
There's about 500,000 kids in foster care in America on any given day.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the course of each year, about 120,000 will go up for adoption.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Many of them are never adopted. But this is how the adoption process works. The birth parents or biological family members have a time frame, and it's different in each state. For some states, it may be 6 months. In other states, it may be 12 months. They have a time frame where they have to do a number of things. Get a steady job,
Right.
employment, housing, transportation,
Right.
pass drug testing, get police background checks, parenting classes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
If they should not be able to meet those requirements after the amount of time, then they have what's called TPR, termination of parental rights.
Wow.
At that point, there is a search for biological family members, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever it may be, who want to adopt that child. And if that fails as well, then the child from foster care is able to be adopted by the foster parents. They get first rights, so to speak.
Okay.
Generally, that happens between 18 to 22 months from the child's placed into the home until the child is adopted. It could take much longer. I've worked with some foster parents who have had their children in their homes for 3, 4, 5 years, and finally, because of all the legalities and the red tape and extensions of parental rights, the child may be adopted, and it's a glorious time. You know, if you were to look at the ones I've adopted, you would state that they are African American. You'd look like that. I often tell people that they're actually Australian American because my wife's from Australia.
I love it.
We're really kind of puzzled by that.
Right.
And then when people ask me if they're my children, I often say, yeah, I just have really recessive genes. You know?
I love it. I love it. That's phenomenal. I love it. So if someone is watching right now and the replay viewers, and they want to, they're thinking about this and they want to embark on this journey, what is the next right step? Like, what's the first thing they need to do?
First thing you need to do is pivotal, and that is talk to your partner, talk to your wife, talk to your husband, talk to your spouse. And you need to determine if both of you are on board.
Okay.
Because if one person wants to do it and the other one does not, the marriage, the relationship will crumble, will destroy. Because it is stressful enough being involved in a relationship. And then you bring in children who have lots of anxieties and needs.
Right.
Draining all of your time and demanding all of your attention.
Right.
That's added stress as well.
Right.
So if there's one person who says, I don't want to do this, but they're dragged into it, then resentment comes in. Resentment towards the spouse,
right.
the partner, resentment towards a child, whatever it may be. So when both are on board, then I often tell people a great deal of prayer. And then you approach a child welfare agency, whether it's a private agency or a state agency, and then you begin the training process. Okay. And that looks like lots of hours of training. Lots of hours of training. Mm-hmm. Police background checks, drug tests, house inspections, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then when it's over, you wait for the first phone call, the first placement. And for my wife and I, that was 10:30 at night for our first placement, and we were excited.
That is phenomenal. So can a single parent adopt or a foster? Yes.
I was just speaking as I came here to a good friend of mine who is a single father. Right. He has a 17-year-old boy in his house at the moment.
Okay.
Before that, he had 2 siblings, I think 5 and 3, maybe each is that. He's doing all by himself, and he's doing a great job. Absolutely. Wow. There's no age limit out there. I've met people in their 70s who are still taking care of children in need.
Oh, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. So tell us a little bit about some of the work that you have done, because not only do you have the children in your home, which is phenomenal, but you're actually out there advocating for this. So tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing now.
Well, lots of books, 17 different books. Write regularly for magazines, trying to bring awareness. Travel the country and the world, bringing awareness, working with foster parents, working with caseworkers, working with politicians and local leaders, working with business leaders, working with churches, all to bring not only awareness, but advocacy. I really believe awareness equals advocacy. So I train lots of foster parents on how to be a stronger foster parent. I work with churches and set up foster care outreach missions, if you will, with social workers. A lot of that. You know, I'm on the road pretty much every other week, about 25 times a year.
Okay, wow. So tell us the bottom line, Dr. John. Tell us, why do you do it? You know what I mean? Like, you have all these degrees. I mean, obviously, you could do anything that you wanted to. I mean, we know it's definitely not about the money for you. So tell us, why do you do this?
My wife has said for the past 8 years now, when a child leaves her home, that she's never going to do it again. And she doesn't say it because it's the hardest thing we do, but she says it because the grief is sometimes overwhelming. You know, it's when you bring a child into your home, I think kids in foster care need three things. They need stability, they need structure, but what they need the most is unconditional love. They need someone to love them with all of their heart.
Right.
And when the child does leave, the foster parent's heart is ripped out. It's like losing your own child. And the feelings of grief and loss are very real. So I come home and I find my wife crying at the child, and she says, I can't do this anymore. But when the phone call rings and there's another child out there who needs someone to say, I will care for you.
Right.
I have no choice.
Right.
I have to. Because if not me, I'm a big believer in the story, the starfish story. If you're familiar with that, you know, throwing each you can help one child at a time. Wow. You know, we made a difference for this child. At least that's our prayer. That's a prayer. And I also want to mention something else about what I do. I've also opened up, I'm also in the process of opening up a group home, a residential therapeutical group home for boys in the foster care system called Never Too Late. Because my wife and I both realized at some point that we can't keep doing 9, 10, 11 kids in the house. Because every time we go someplace, it's like the clown car pulls up and kids just keep hopping out of the car. So we're opening up a residential therapeutical group home for boys in foster care. That's just one of the nonprofits that I'm aligned with as well.
Can you tell us a little bit about A Happy Childhood? Because I know that's another nonprofit that you have. Can you just give us a little bit more info about that?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah. So through the years, my wife and I have taken several of our foster children to Disney World. My wife and I met in a performing group. We traveled the world performing. So we're both performers at heart. And that's why I actually moved to Atlanta, Georgia for the performance entertainment industry. And I was not a stripper. You know. That's usually people's first question. They say, look at me, come on, really? So we found that our children from foster care, when they go to Disney World, that they're able to leave behind all of their abuse, all of their anxieties, all of their trauma, and instead immerse themselves in a world of imagination. And we have seen children smile for the very first time. Wow. We have seen kids laugh there for the first time. We call it Disney therapy, a form of play therapy. Wow. So A Happy Child is a nonprofit program that my wife has started up, where she will bring children from foster care, 6 children at a time for a week, every month, to Disney World and give them the full experience. I mean the complete Disney experience. Wow. Eat with the princesses, have one-on-one greetings with the characters, learn about career opportunities if they're old enough, but really escape the label of being a foster child and learn how to play and carry a memory with them for the rest of their life. And it is nonprofit, so we are looking for people who say, you know what, I can't be a foster parent, but I want to help kids. We really find that these children heal through laughter. They heal through smiling. You know, it is the little girl, the 4-year-old girl we recently took, had been raped repeatedly by her grandfather. 4-year-old girl. And when she came to us, she could not speak one single word. Wow. And we took her to Disney World a year after she was with us. And that Cinderella bent down and took her hands in hers. And that girl's face lit up in the biggest smile I had ever seen out of her. Wow. Now, my wife and I both lost it. We saw healing happening right there.
Wow,
you know?
wow.
Amazing.
Wow. And I think
we're excited about this program.
Yeah, and I think those type of memories can literally change their lives forever. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yes. Right. Absolutely right. Because they'll remember a time in their life where they were happy, and they'll try to cling to that. They'll try to go back to that. And again, healing takes place, and they find hope, and they find, oh my gosh, I have a future.
Right.
You know?
Right. So how are we able to sow? How are we able to give to this nonprofit a happy childhood? Because I do believe that, that would be a great place that, in this group within Excellent Families that we can, give to something. You know what I mean? Not that we'll ever know or see the child as getting that experience, but we understand an experience of that nature can literally change their lives. So how can we go about?
And before I tell you how you can find that, I also want to talk about how it also helps. It also helps the birth parents. Because when the birth parents visit their child, when they have a court visit or a visitation meeting, and they see that child full of joy and having things to talk about, a part of that birth parent begins to heal as well. Because so many of these birth parents are victims as well. 2 of the 3 that I've adopted are third-generation foster care, meaning their parents and grandparents were also in the foster care system, and the system failed them. They didn't know how to be parents, so they're broken, they're hurt.
Right.
So a part of them is to heal when they see their child healing. You can simply go to my website, Dr. John DeGarmo Foster Care, or the Foster Care Institute, and there's a link to A Happy Childhood, or you can Google A Happy Childhood Foster Care, and it'll come right up there as well. Again, not everybody can be a foster parent, but this is a great way to help children find healing. Again, 500,000 kids in foster care in America. There are not enough foster parents. Everybody can help these children.
Wow. Say that number again. How many kids are in foster care?
About roughly 500,000 on a given day. I live by this scripture verse. Matthew 25:35 says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. I was naked, and you gave me clothing." To me, that's these children.
That's right.
That is these children.
That's right. That's living that commission. That is phenomenal. So tell us, Dr. John, how do we stay in contact with you? Because I know some people are going to watch this and, some of us can't, take on our kids in our home, but there's something we could do. So how do we stay connected with you? How do we, give us the website again? Because I know you gave it to us real fast. And if someone is on here and if you could scribe that for us, that'd be awesome.
Sure. If you just Google the Foster Care Institute,
okay,
my website will come up, or Dr. John DeGarmo. DeGarmo spelled SMITH.
I love it.
No, DEGARMO. Find me on Facebook, Dr. John DeGarmo Foster Care. You'll find lots of information all day long, videos, all kinds of fun stuff on there about how you can help kids in need. Twitter, same thing, Dr. John DeGarmo Foster Care. Right. Easy to find, and easy to reach out to as well.
Right. And I love what you're doing, and that's why I really wanted to get you on here, because that's what Excellent Family is about. Like, it's not about perfection, but it's really about everyone in the family doing their part, and that's what you and your wife are doing. You are doing your part.
And every child deserves a family.
That's right.
But so many kids don't have that family.
Right.
We just had an 18-year-old boy leave our house. He was in our house for about a year. He was homeless, deserted by his mother, and he had never known a father. He had never known a family environment. He had never known a family structure.
Wow.
And the year he was with us, I think he grew by leaps and bounds. And he wrote us a beautiful card last week saying, thank you for showing me what family meant. And again, every child needs a family, but so many kids don't.
Right.
Or their family is just abusing right now.
Right. And that's why I love about Excellent Families and what we stand for, because I always teach this in here that, society is a direct reflection of what's happening inside the family. So if we have all these children in foster care, what's going to happen when they become adults? You know what I mean? If they're not nurtured, if they're not loved, what type of people are we forming and shaping to let loose in society? You know what I mean? So what are the statistics, real quick, about foster care children that doesn't get the home like, you and your wife have provided? What happens to them?
55% will drop out of school.
My goodness.
65% will end up in jail. Will end up homeless. 75% will end up in jail. 90% will become pregnant by age 21, and the cycle will just repeat itself over and over again.
Wow. When
these children leave that foster home and they're not adopted, or they don't have a family, they don't have a high school diploma, they don't have social skills, they don't have living skills, and they end up homeless, they turn to crime and drugs, and it's just a cycle that repeats itself. And they also turn, sadly, they fall victims of child sex trafficking, which is rampant across America. Yet so few are willing to acknowledge it or recognize it because it's a dirty little secret that America does not want to talk about. Right. And so many of these children are victims from the foster care system as well.
Right. And I love that we all can do something, So if you're on here and you're watching and, this is really gripping your heart, please go to Dr. DeGarmo's website and sow. Okay, I always talk about sowing. Okay, I don't really say give, I say sow. Put it in the ground. It will produce fruit because here, this is a good ground to sow in. This is a very good ground. And not only is it just for you, but it's for society. It's for your children, right? That's going to have to grow up, in this society. So we have to come together as excellent families to, help and support what Dr. DeGarmo's doing. Yes, sir.
Right. Or think of your own child. Think of your own 7-year-old daughter, your own 7-year-old niece, your own 7-year-old grandchild, the 7-year-old in your classroom, whatever it may be.
Right.
Think about that 7-year-old girl right now who is being sexually abused by her family or being beaten by her stepfather or being raped on her birthday or being used as a victim of child sex trafficking and used as a victim of sex 10 to 12 times a day, 7 days a week. It's happening right now in your cities.
Right.
It may even be happening in the place you work at, or maybe members of your own family.
Neighborhood, absolutely.
Again, it's something that America needs to wake up and realize, what about the human rights of children?
Right. Absolutely. So you've left us tonight pondering and wanting to do something. So I hope you guys are going to do something tonight and, support this cause. So that's all we have. Thank you, Dr. DeGarmo, so much for being on here tonight. I know you're super busy. And we appreciate you taking the time to just teach us and educate us and bring awareness to this wonderful, wonderful subject of fostering. So that's all we have for you guys. Any last thoughts that you want to share with us before we close out?
Again, not everybody can be a foster parent, but everybody can help a child in need. And there's a child in need very close to where you live.
All right. That says it. All right, you guys. God bless you guys. Until next time. Bye-bye.